Hello everyone, this should work. I tried it out yesterday and it seemed to work, so let's see if it works now. Today, I will be playing some Hardspace Shipbreaker, which is a early access game on Steam right now. I picked it up a couple of days ago and I kind of got addicted to it pretty heavily. But yeah, this is a game. I'd almost call it a puzzle game. It's basically you play as a guy who is, or girl, whatever, who is taking apart ships. That's your job, and it's just got a really good feel to it. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that old TV show Firefly. I say old; it's not that old, but that TV show Firefly. It's got kind of that little bit of that country western bit on top of it, and so basically you work as a shipbreaker. You start out with a debt of 1 billion credits, and the idea is that you're going to work off that debt by taking ships apart. There's a bunch of audio logs and stuff. Most of them are currently
Okay, enough is enough.
read by a
Who
computer.
stole the filter from the waste management system?
Which is fine.
Who did it?
It's early access, so they said that some of the stuff may be a little bit unpolished. They probably haven't gotten voice actors for everything yet.
Unfiltered turd, and then we've got an epidemic on board.
So,
I am willing to let this slide
the basic
if
idea.
filter is returned and
Can I
reinstalled properly
stop
by
this?
0700 hours tomorrow.
Hold on.
If it's not there, I'm gonna come looking for it. And
My
by God,
Hell's
hell's coming with me. You got that? Hell's coming with me.
Okay, we just let it go. All right. So the basic idea is that you start out as like a rank 1 in your basic training, basic certification, and then you start doing more and more tasks, more complex tasks, and as you do that, you get basically the ability to salvage larger and more difficult ships. So, you start out just being able to do, really basic ships, and also it changes what's available to get in your equipment upgrades. So as you can see here, I've already got a good amount of the equipment upgrades, but again, the game is in early access, so I'm not really sure how much they're going to add to that afterwards. It'd be cool if they added more stuff, but what they've got so far is pretty reasonable. There are a few issues with things like this guy. The increased cut grade turns your saw into something that can cut harder materials. And from what I understand, I've looked at some what would you call it? I guess I'd call them comment threads on forums about this game. And people who've got this have been very dissatisfied that they can't turn it off because it makes certain work very difficult. But we're not there yet. Your stuff has durability, so you have to repair it with repair kits. And that's a little weird too. You can only buy the repair kits during your work shift, whereas it'd be really nice if there was a shop thing where you could add, hey, buy some repair kits here, buy keys. Also, the display, I'll show you that in a second, but there's a couple of different items that you need. Right now there's 2 of them. There's the repair kits and utility keys. And you need those in order to repair your equipment and turn off thrusters and stuff on the ship. So since I'm starting with a new ship, I'm going to repair my cutter, even though it was at pretty close to pretty good durability. The cutter gets used up really quick. The grapple gets used up less quickly, but still reasonably quickly. Thrusters and scanner get used up occasionally. And the helmet and work suit get fixed at the end of each shift. Or you can fix them during your shift, but, whatever. So, right now my work order stuff that I need to do to get my higher level certification is this. But actually what I think I'm going to do for the purpose of this stream is I'm just going to start with a small ship just to kind of go over something. So this is the training ship that you start out with, and you start taking that apart. That's for your training. Then this is the first level of regular ships. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, and you see they're a little bit different, and they all have a certain amount of procedural stuffed with them. Like, you'll see this is a light cargo, this is a light cargo, but if you notice the resource percentages, they're a little bit different. So each ship is a little unique. I mean, it'd be nice if there was a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? More variety. But again, early access, and I think they're working on that. One of the updates I saw recently was that they had added a new ship type. But anyway, so the basic ship type is called the Mackerel. And we'll just do this station hopper real quick. And that starts the game up. Okay. Well, loading times aren't so bad. So one thing that I did early on was I turned my interact key away to something else. But as you can see here, you know, you've got your oxygen, which you're going to need to probably get 1 oxygen every shot. So that's something to think about for budgeting. You've got fuel, which you need every few runs. Tethers get restored at the start of each shift. So once you get enough of them as your base number, you probably won't need to buy these anymore. The patch kit repairs your suit if you get damaged. The utility keys are needed to turn things off. And the repair kits... Actually, the utility keys are mostly needed in larger ships. And you can get them in smaller ships, so that's a reason to go back to smaller ships and take some apart, because they usually have a utility key that's easy to find. And then the repair kits, you can only buy them here. So anyway, I've got my tether here. I'm just going to zoom in. If you're going faster than 10 meters per second, it's kind of dangerous. So I kind of get up to about 10 and then slow down a little bit. As you can see, we've got our work orders here. First work order is to grab the antenna. Now each item has a different place to necessarily, or there's a few different places where items need to be put. Stuff like this is stuff like this goes into the barge, like actually completed working stuff. And give me just a second here. That should work. Sorry, I had to deal with something. In the smaller ships, you've got these nacelles here. And the smaller ships, they're usually just put on with a cut point. So these yellow things are like, they're basically supposed to be easy to cut. And I can use a tether to bring the nacelle down into the barge where it belongs. And let's see, we got probably another nacelle over on this side. In space, no one can hear your acoustic guitar.
Account credit applied.
And we'll tether this in. And we also can grab this. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, so the ship was still under pressure, and I basically explosively vented it. That could be very dangerous. If, like, things are floating around in there, they will be very unhappy. And you can even blow up the ship that way, and it messes everything up. But we apparently survived. So
Airlock pressure levels increasing.
I'm not sure why.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
Okay, sometimes you have to cycle it once to get it to open and close. I have an attachment for my ship that allows me to, like, recover
Airlock pressure levels increasing.
air pressure when I'm in a pressurized zone. So you'll see that my O2 meter starts to go up. The O2 is basically measured in seconds. And because your shift is 15 minutes, unless you were able somehow to get an O2 level that's up in the, you know, what's that going to be? 900? Which is not an option at this point. Once you get there,
Airlock pressure levels
you're pretty much always going to need some air during a run. But that's alright. You have a scanner, Scanner can tell you what's gassed up and what is not. That's kind of helpful. And it looks like we still got air in the cockpit and in the crawl space, which I'm a little surprised at. I would have imagined that we would have lost air there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the airlock, gas it up.
Airlock pressure levels increasing.
Gas up this area.
Air pressure level decreasing.
And that opened up the... Okay, so, yeah, sometimes you have to play around with it a little bit to get it right, but this seemed to have worked pretty well. We've now depressurized the whole ship, and we just basically need to start cutting. Let's just make sure. Yeah, see, the compartments are red now, so they are cut. Oh, and also, another nice thing about the smaller ships is that they will often have some very easily available stuff. Here we've got, it looks like some fuel and a repair kit, so we get those for free. There's some health there if we need it, but we don't. Here is a data drive. Those will contain the files that we were listening to earlier. Looks like there's no oxygen tanks in here, but that's alright. We'll survive. So you can use the... You see I'm getting a little bit of slowdown. You can use the split saw if you want, but I actually kind of recommend using the stinger. Just because it's a little safer. The cutter, the stinger only ever cuts level 1 stuff and cut points, and it'll only ever cut like one thing at a time. So it's nice to be able to be cautious about that. Then we've got a plate floating around somewhere. Here it is. A plate. This is just an aluminum plate. Or no, it's a nanocarbon plate, but it wants to go in the furnace. That's really strange. Usually nanocarbon goes in the processor. In you go. Wait, what? Well, there was an equipment mount that had to be processed. That's weird. I don't know. There's a little bit of goofiness there, and the fact of the matter is that the game right now does not have a very good manual. It has a very short tutorial, which doesn't tell you that much, and then it's just basically off you go. And so, yeah, I would say it requires a little bit of playing around and tinkering. You'll probably, if you play this game, you'll probably end up... Is it moving or not? No? It is. It's totally moving. But there's something... There it goes. No, 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 no. You don't need to go in the barge. The barge is not your place. No, come on. No, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. With heavier stuff, your tether is usually the best way to do it. Tethers, like my grapple gun only can move stuff up to about 2,000 kilograms, 2 metric tons, and it's not very good at moving that stuff. I'll just put it that way. And so I usually will use tethers to move things that are more than a couple hundred kilograms because it's kind of fire and forget, which is nice. So
Valuable object process.
now you gotta be really careful here. Because there can be like fuel tanks and stuff like behind. So like, look, there's a coolant system. So I need to make sure that I don't accidentally like hit that with the thing. There's a power cell, and then there's some fuel tanks. So what's saying danger? Oh, the airlock still has air in it. Let's fix that. So one thing that they don't tell you about is that you have the ability to like use your hands to grab out. They don't give you a whole lot of information about that.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
So keep an eye out for that when if you decide to play this, which I recommend if you like sci-fi stuff. So these cut points are pretty easy to take apart. I'm almost out of air, so I'm gonna need to go back and get air. If I had done that right, if I hadn't pulled that thruster thing I would have
Your oxygen reserves are low.
I would have been able to recover some oxygen while I was working inside the ship. But since I screwed that up, I have to go back and buy oxygen.
Welcome to Vintatron 9000. Have a nice
Oxygen levels stabilizing.
And there's the reactor. We're going to need to very carefully extract that. And the level 1 reactors aren't that hard to extract, but
Cutter, there's 5 minutes remaining in this ship.
the higher level ones can be tough. So the trick with this is going to be like this. We're going to cut these cut points. And we have to be cautious because if we like aim wrong, we're going to hit those fuel tanks, and that will be very bad for us. That will cause an explosion, and it will probably kill us. Now, in the normal mode of the game, you get to revive as many times as you want, but it does cost you, I think it's about 150,000 credits every time you do that. The numbers are really big, but like the penalties for like getting your debt higher don't seem to be anything. Like, I don't know, I feel like they should add more to that. But here's what we're going to do. That thing's there, it needs to go in the barge. When you pull it, it will start to melt down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to immediately tether it to the barge and get the hell out of the way. Got it. So there you go. That's level 1 reactors, and you can hear the music get a little bit more intense, and whenever your player character is in danger, he actually starts to breathe harder. And I don't know if that actually consumes more O2 or not. I know that you can like leak O2 if you get damaged. So, man. So this is a pain. They put these fuel tanks in these tiny little areas, and what I'm gonna have to do, I think, is cut some panels away from them, because what that'll do is it'll let me pull them out more easily, I think. Come on, dang it. It's so close. There it goes. Alright. Fuel tank number 1, clear. And then that means we can cut some things more safely.
Credit transferred.
And I do want to show the... Oh, hold on. Oh, thing to note is that, that all goes into the processor. Alright. Off it goes. The thing I'd like to show, if I can, is the split saw. So I'm just going to show this real quick. So you can see that red dotted line, and you can do things like that, and it's really cool. I don't know. It's just satisfying. And for the larger ships, you can use this to actually just like cut the ship into pieces so that you can... Oh, there was another fuel tank in there. Good gravy. That would have been real bad. I thought I had opened up the other one, the other side. Now you see that little the little squares next to the fuel tank as I grab it? That is its health bar, basically. And it can take a little bit of bumping. But if you're not careful...
Cutter, wrap it up. You got about a minute left.
If you're not careful, it will split and it'll start spraying fuel all over the place. And if it hits anything that could burn, you're going to be in big trouble.
Salvage secured.
Okay.
Credits deposited.
So that was kind of nice. and there's no shut-off valves. Some of the later, bigger ships have like shut-off valves and stuff that you have to be careful about. Oh, and I'm almost out of time. So I'm going to just get this thing, and it's angry. But that's alright. As long as I don't actually get burned by it. So I have something to do, so I have to quit here. But I will probably hop on and stream a little more of this later, just to kind of show it off. But yeah, that's that. So the stuff that I salvaged this shift was worth about 1.04 million credits, and I solved 2 of the work orders for a total of 50 points, or I guess they're called links tokens. And then basically when you do that, the day ends, the next day starts, and you make your payment on your loan. The interest rate is 0.01% per day, which comes out to something like 4% once you compound it over the course of, say, a year. You have to pay bay lease, bay transportation, and habitation unit rental and utilities each day, which they're pretty expensive too. And you also have to pay rental fees for your equipment. You will notice that I, like for instance, my thrusters. I bought my thrusters, and you have to pay a bunch of links tokens to do that. And it doesn't even unlock it for some things until later. And you can see the number of links tokens it needs there is almost 11,000. So there's a lot of stuff to do in this, as far as like, you know, getting stuff. I feel like I'll probably run out of stuff that I want before I finish off my debt. But again, it's in early access, so they might add more fun stuff to play with. I really like playing with the laser cutter. I hope if you're watching and you like what you've seen, that you will also enjoy cutting spaceships up. And yeah, we'll call it there for right now. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.